What is going on, guys? So tonight I am going to attempt to give the Bronco Donco a lift kit. Yeah, people have done it before by like adjusting the shock mount height on the shock towers, but I think I might have discovered a new way to give it a lift kit. So I'm going to attempt to do that tonight. So let's take a look and see what we got. Okay guys, so here we go. We have the Donco. And this is what I'm going to attempt to do. So it's going to be pretty labor intensive. These shock mount brackets, I believe if you look at it, there's 3 screws, right? So there's 2 in the top, right up in there, 1, 2, and then there's 1 on the bottom. And they go all the way through. I think they actually help hold the axle together because it's 2 pieces. So I will have to put all of them back in, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take all these off, front and back, and I'm going to flip them to where the axle will drop, and I'm going to turn these upside down so this single hole is on the top and the double holes are on the bottom, and I'm just going to mount the axle with the double holes. So yeah, I think that will give it a significant lift kit. So I'm going to take the tires off, the body off, and I will be right back. Okay guys, here we are, just the chassis. So now what I need to do is I need to go in and take out all the shock bolts on the lower side here. So I'm going to do that. There is 1 screw holding the shock and the suspension link to the truck. These here, those there, I believe are the same size as, I think they're actually the same size as the axial wheel nuts. I think they're they are a 4mm, I believe. So yeah, I'm going to take that bolt out along with the one up here and the front as well. So I'm going to do that and be right back with you. Okay guys, so I didn't do all 4 corners. I just did 1 because it went really quick. But this is what we have going on. So if you look here, this bracket right here mounts 1, 2, 3 screws, right? Oh, bad lighting. Anyway, it's these 3 screws right here. If you can see that. It's these 3 screws. So what I did is I took them out and I flipped this bracket around to where the double screws are on the bottom and the single screw here is not being used anymore. So you can tell it gave it a significant increase in height. So now the shocks and the suspension link I'm going to mount right back into there. Let me shine some more light on the subject. Bam. So this bracket here, normally this hole right here is down here. So I just flip it upside down. So that is going to give it a significant increase in height. So now you're going to go through, and the shock gets mounted on the outside and the suspension link on the inside by one big screw and a nut. And I had to use pliers to get this out because I don't have any open-end wrenches this size. So this nut right here, guys, is the same size as an axial wheel nut. It is a 4mm socket. As you can tell, fits right in there. Boom, boom, and 4mm. So yeah, that's pretty cool. That goes on the inside, goes all the way through. There's the nut, there's the head of the bolt. So yeah, I'm gonna throw that back in on this side and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I just noticed something else that I'm gonna have to do. So this bracket right here that holds the upper links, that is gonna have to be flipped as well. So this nut, and again, it's only one bolt holding the suspension links. So this nut here is gonna have to come off, along with that screw right there on top of the pumpkin right there. Boom. This one. So I'm gonna do that and be right back. Okay guys, we are back. So I went ahead and just took the rear axle completely off the truck, as you can tell, because you can see what I'm doing a lot better. So this is what we have. This here is the stock mounting setup for the suspension link and the shock on the axle. This is what I changed it to over here. So now when I was trying to put the shock and the suspension link back in on this side, it was hitting the upper links. So that is why this bracket here has to be taken off by these 3 screws and then flipped upside down. So these ears are going to be pointing up. So I'm going to do that a second and be right back. Okay guys, got all the brackets flipped upside down. I went ahead and flipped the other shock tower one over here around too. So there we are. Significant height increase. So yeah, I'm going to throw this back on the truck and be right back. Oh, on another note, so for the shocks and lower suspension links, you have one size screw, and for this one here on the top, it's an extremely long one. So just make sure you guys keep track of which screws go where. All these 6 are all the same size, so that doesn't matter. But these medium-sized ones go in the shocks and the lower suspension link, and then this long one goes to the upper suspension links up here. So I'm going to put everything back together and be right back. Okay guys, got everything back together. So as you can tell, there is a significant increase in height. Okay, there's one thing I did notice that I want to note, because it is kind of a sketchy thing. In doing this and lifting these brackets up, the links aren't really in the proper spot anymore, so it tends to make the axle twist a little bit. But these things being so freaking small, I mean, yeah, this Tetra from Panda Hobbies, they do put out a fair amount of torque, but I mean, I think that is going to be all right. It's not really overextending that drive, and like I really have to grab onto this and twist it. I feel under the power of the truck, I think it will be just fine. But throw the tires back on it, and you guys can definitely tell the increase in height that you're gaining. Yeah, it's gonna make it more top heavy, but I feel doing this, it's gonna get the suspension links up a little higher and increase that belly clearance quite significantly. So yeah. Throw that tire on there and that tire on there. So yeah, you can definitely tell that increase. So this is stock setup and that's level. So I mean, you're gaining probably you're gaining like a ½ inch, I want to bet, on this truck. So that's a significant height increase. But all right, I'm gonna do the front. The front is done the same way as the back. So you got the same brackets on the front, to one exception. There is a servo mount up in there that I hope is separate, and it is not. Oh crap, that means this is not gonna work, guys. Oh, stink. That servo mount is not gonna let me do it. So well, that just backfired. As you can see in here, guys, maybe you can, maybe you can't. My lighting kind of sucks. So I'll zoom in there a little bit and brighten it up. This is the servo mount, which is in combination to the upper steering link mount back in there. So that is not going to be able to be flipped upside down. So that is probably going to cause an issue. I'm going to try to flip these and see what happens. But try to flip these brackets and see what happens. But when I did it on the back, these suspension links hit the upper suspension links, and they're pretty close back here, so this might not work. I will get it tore apart and be right back. Okay guys, that took a little bit of finagling, but I figured something out, so it's kind of janky. But what I did is I just took some of those rubber washers for the deadbolt roll cage, and I stuck them in there, right there, and kind of spaced it out a little bit. I'm hoping it seems to be pretty tight in there. There's not much rocking going on, so I'm hoping that will work. So yeah, I will throw the linkages back in there and be right back. Okay guys, we are back. We are partially put back together. I did run into an issue. As you can see, it did lift this thing up quite a bit. Yeah, it's up there in the air pretty good. So one reason why I wanted to do this is look at how high up those suspension links are now. Yeah, they're up there quite a ways. Like, that's gonna improve the center clearance quite a bit. So One issue I ran into though, it's a fairly decent issue. Just let me mount you back on the camera mount here. So in the front drive axle, remember how I put those spacers in there? It's not working well. I gotta find a better way to space that servo mount up, because with the upper and lower links so close together as far as height wise on the axle, it tends to want to flip. See how it wants to rotate, and then if you get too far this way, it just pops up that way. So, and that is the result in having this all too close to the same height on the truck. All these links here, yeah, you want the upper links to be a pretty decent amount higher than the lower links, which is why they're upper and lower links. So I have to do some more brainstorming on that, but yeah, hopefully you guys might be able to figure that out. Hopefully this video was a little bit of a help, but I definitely like how much clearance there is under here now. That is a significant increase. So yeah, all I have to do is just figure out how to raise that steering servo slash upper suspension link mount higher on the chassis. Gonna have to get some longer screws, obviously, because you're gonna be putting in a spacer in there. Yeah. So anyway, hopefully that was an interesting video for you guys. Yeah. Hit the subscribe button and the little bell so you get notified. And then we will see you on Wednesday. So take it easy. Happy Monday.